On today's Two on Your Side town hall, weeks after a protest was held over a vaccine mandate that impacts employees at Moog, we're going to talk with a local attorney about a legal challenge to that mandate. Plus, we're looking into more claims involving COVID-19 being made on social media, including about vaccination rates in the U.S. and a controversial sign caught on camera. We'll verify. And many people will be shopping for Christmas gifts a lot earlier than normal this year, thanks to delays in shipping around the world. We'll take a look inside a Chinese toy factory to see what kinds of impact those delays will have. Well, it was at the end of October that we covered a walkout and protest for hundreds of employees at Moog in Elma. That was because many workers are upset about the vaccine mandate that impacts all Moog employees since the company works on federal contracts. Moog is an aerospace, defense, and medical device manufacturer that is covered by the federal immunization policy. It requires that all employees working for a company with a federal contract be vaccinated by December 8th or face termination. And now, some employees are filing a lawsuit to challenge that federal mandate. Joining us right now is attorney Amanda Smith, who is with Tully Rinke PLLC. Amanda, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So let's start with the lawsuit itself. Several employees at Moog are looking to challenge the vaccination mandate that impacts the company because of its federal contracts. What do you make of their legal challenge in this case?
It's a legitimate legal challenge. They're challenging it. I know it sounds like a big challenge, but it's on constitutionality grounds. Whether or not the federal government even has the authority to issue some sort of mandate in this way. I know there's a lot of talk about this century-old court case that's come about, and it's from 1905 and before we've dealt with anything of this magnitude across the United States, let alone the globe. As far as the constitutionality of it, traditionally police power within the states, and the federal government is trying to work in the same way. And issues on whether or not the federal government is overstepping bounds and coming into state traditional powers.
So over the course of the pandemic, we've seen countless lawsuits filed against different mandates and policies, including against face masks. Some have been successful, but when it comes to specifically vaccine challenges, are there any precedents so far? I mean, you mentioned that case from more than 100 years ago, but is there anything that's been done so far at this level with the COVID pandemic?
Not at this level, but you're seeing a lot of states, I believe there's 20 that have brought sort of or federal contractors in over 20 states. They're challenging whether or not maybe requirements by a state would apply here, or whether or not requirements by the military, I believe it was the Navy. There was a challenge regarding two civilian employees were requiring the measles vaccine, and they didn't want to take it. And that was actually upheld, that the government could mandate the measles vaccine. But as far as the COVID-19 vaccines, that's kind of a world's difference with the measles and the mumps.
So for any Moog employee who refuses to get vaccinated before the deadline, it could mean they're out of a job unless they have an exemption. Is there any legal option for them at this point if this challenge fails in court? Would they be able to collect unemployment, for example?
They should be able to collect unemployment. It's difficult when you're getting into New York at-will employees. However, you could challenge a wrongful termination whatever county currently, and that go for any employee, not just for those at Moog. There's violations you can bring, again, getting the functionality of it. You can go into as well about violations of the Administrative Procedures Act, saying that there was no notice and comment period, that they just violated both the constitutional rights that individuals have to make decisions for themselves, as well as violations of actual policies and procedures the federal government has in place, and then going into the violation of state power, and federal separation of powers, and going into all those. They could, file as well, depending on if they file reasonable accommodation or exemption requests, religious grounds or medical. they could also go a discrimination route and allege that termination was also wrongful and that the employer was made aware that they were, of a specific religion or belief and that they had a specific medical condition, and they could allege that the termination was wrong too.
So it sounds like there are some options out there. For this legal challenge, how will it end up playing out in court, like timeline-wise? We know there's not much time before the federal deadline, so what kind of timetable are we talking about here?
Don't move that fast. So, it's possible, like a lot of individuals were seeking some sort of injunctive relief. It's sort of intermediate help along the way while you're waiting for the things to play out through the courts. But it's likely that, this is probably going to go as high as it can for most of the courts. So that's New York, visit Florida, through to their highest courts, and then possible into the district. It's going to take a while to get through.
All right. We've been joined by attorney Amanda Smith with Tully Rinke PLLC. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. And we have an update tonight on a strike we had reported on earlier this month. Teamsters Local 264 tells us that a deal was reached over the weekend for the union workers at Friendship Dairies. The union says it was a 2-to-1 vote to ratify a new 3-year contract. The strike lasted 10 days, and according to a Teamsters union rep, the strike was about wages, health care, and paid sick time. About 250 Friendship Dairies workers had walked off the job from the plant that makes dairy products like sour cream and cottage cheese. COVID-19 cases and hospitalizations continue going up here in Western New York. According to the state's COVID tracker, there were 298 Western New Yorkers in the hospital with COVID as of this Saturday. That's the highest number in our region since April 25th. Of those 298 hospitalizations, 63 of those people are in the ICU. And here's a reminder of where breakthrough cases stand across the state. As of the state's latest update, there were 137,000 lab-confirmed cases of COVID in fully vaccinated New Yorkers. That's out of more than 13 million people who are fully vaccinated, amounting to 1.1% of vaccinated people. 9,000 of those cases have resulted in hospitalizations, which is just 0.07% of fully vaccinated New Yorkers. The state says fully vaccinated New Yorkers have between a 90 and 95% lower chance of being hospitalized with the virus. As for other parts of the U.S., there has been a debate over which state or territory has the highest vaccination rate. And according to a claim from a former president, the top spot doesn't belong to one of the 50 states. Ariane Detil with our Verify team checked that out for us, as well as a claim being circulated on social media about a kids' vaccination site telling parents to donate their kids' organs.
Since late October, there's been a lot of talk about Puerto Rico's COVID-19 vaccination rate. Former President Bill Clinton tweeted an article claiming the Caribbean island had the highest vaccination rate of any U.S. state or territory. So is that true? Let's verify. We went to these sources for an answer. As of November 10th, data from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention shows 73.9% of Puerto Rico's total population has been fully vaccinated against COVID-19. That's the highest of any state or territory in the United States, according to CDC data. Puerto Rico's Department of Health shows a slightly lower vaccination rate at 70.5%. So Verify used population data from the 2020 census and the number of fully vaccinated people within each state or territory based on their local data available on November 10th to triple check those numbers. Using that data, we confirmed that Puerto Rico still has the highest vaccination rate in the country. So we can verify, yes. According to both CDC data and local health department data, Puerto Rico has the highest COVID-19 vaccination rate of any U.S. state or territory. According to CDC data, Guam and Vermont have the next highest vaccination rates for COVID-19. A photo circulated online following the U.S. Food and Drug Administration's emergency use authorization for the Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine for children, claiming to show a mobile vaccination tent with language reminding parents to donate their children's organs. And that left some people wondering whether the photo's real. So let's verify. We went to these sources for answers. Using the reverse image search tool Revi, Verify found the original photo was taken at Gillette Stadium in Massachusetts. It was posted on the New England Patriots website in an article about mobile vaccination clinics being offered at the stadium. The text in the original photo reads, "COVID-19 vaccines here, no appointments needed." The message in the white box is the same message translated into Spanish. The text in that box was then manipulated to say, "Don't forget to donate your children's organs." A spokesperson with Mass General Brigham confirmed the photo was manipulated. Facebook and Twitter placed disclaimers on the image, alerting users that it was altered. So it's false. The photo at the mobile vaccination site reminding parents to donate their children's organs is not real. With your Verify, I'm Ariane Till.
Thank you, Ariane. Overseas, one of the world's most restricting lockdowns for unvaccinated people went into effect today. Austria now prohibits people 12 years old or older who have not been vaccinated from leaving their homes. There are exceptions, and those include for basic activities like working, grocery shopping, going for a walk, or going to get a vaccine. The lockdown is initially going to be imposed until November 24th. Violators of the lockdown face fines of up to what amounts to $1,600. About 65% of Austrians are fully vaccinated as of this month.